Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner. I'm so glad you're here to nourish your roots with me today. So, today I'm going to talk about some like kitchen myths or some kitchen things that we taught that were right and they're just not anymore. So, you're going to see some master nutritionists and some of my, cooking stuff that I have under my belt, all of my experience in professional kitchens and stuff like that, which seems like a lifetime ago now. But we're going to bring some of this tonight because I've been seeing some things like this. But of course, I'm also a quantum energy healer and a functional bloodwork specialist. If you follow me on social media and you're on my personal account on Facebook, you see I put up a post last night. It was just kind of something that popped into my head because I've been seeing a lot about this, with people asking, things in like mommy needs a recipe kind of groups or something like that, and some of the time I feel like it's just rage bait. But people are like apparently like washing chicken. And they do this with ground beef too, because I definitely saw somebody say, that they were at their mother-in-law's or something and like she didn't wash the beef before she made tacos or whatever, so like I didn't want to let my kids eat the food. So okay, washing chicken, washing ground beef, not only is it completely unnecessary, but now your sink is full of bacteria, okay, because you're spreading it all over the place. It is going to go all over the place. There's no need to get rid of all that stuff. You can just pat it dry with some paper towels and then season it up and cook it, because you are more likely to spread bacteria everywhere when you do that. Not only that, but you are rinsing off the flavor and the nutrients, okay? There are nutrients in the food, all of those juices and stuff like that, like that's where like there's a lot of flavor and nutrients in there and you're just washing it down the drain, and it's not accomplishing anything because water does not kill bacteria, but cooking the food will. So just pat it dry, season it up and everything, and make sure that you cook it and you're good to go. Please don't spread chicken juice all over your kitchen. That's just gross. And then ironically, people won't wash their hands properly after they are so weird about washing off their chicken. So, make sure you wash your hands properly and long enough because that's going to be more important. And definitely important, if you've just washed chicken all over the place. Yeah, so don't wash chicken. No. And yeah, anybody who's been in a professional kitchen, who is certified in food service safety or anything like that, they'll say, no, 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 no. It's a no-no. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about, this kind of ties in with our butter is better, butter is back episode from a couple weeks ago. But with the margarine versus butter thing. Okay, so I remember in like I think it was the early 90s or so, but in the 80s and 90s, there was like this whole like fat thing and like butter is bad. We don't want saturated fat, and my grandmother, I mean, she was always, if you, anybody out there who knew her, man, that lady, she knew her way around a kitchen, but, she was into like organic and natural things like long before it was cool, but she did fall into this like low fat, kind of a thing, which so many people did. I mean, 80s and 90s, I mean, like there were snack wells everywhere, so, one day we're eating a pie. Now, my grandmother's always great at making pies. I mean, they're like, just like fantastic. Okay. So we're sitting there eating, and this pie crust, it was just nasty. It was like, it got brown. It was like crumbly, like, but it was chewy. And she was complaining. She's like, I just can't get, I don't know what's wrong with my pie crust, whatever, We didn't really say anything. I wasn't thinking anything of it, as a kid. And, my mom, she went and made a pie, whatever, because she knew. She went and made a pie, and my grandma was like, wow, this crust is so great. What'd you do? She's like, I used your recipe. I just put butter like you used to do. Like you swapped it out for margarine, and that is the whole thing there. Your pie crust knew the truth. Long before. They're not interchangeable at all. And there are so many reasons why butter is absolutely better than fake food like margarine would be. I mean, and it's really created a whole lot of chronic illness and different things, and perpetuated a lot of things because we really thought that we were we're gonna nip it to this, we're not gonna eat these fats anymore, no more saturated fats, and all of the heart attacks will go away. And yeah, so we all know that didn't age too well. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is adding oil to pasta water. Now, I am so guilty of this in the past. I don't do this. I haven't done this for many, many, many years, but I used to. It feels productive. It accomplishes nothing. Oil and water don't mix. We learned this. We learned this in chemistry. Like, I mean, you learned this before you even had a class called chemistry, right? Like it was just in like science class. Oil and water do not mix. So, that oil is going to stay up at the top And you know what? Your pasta's still going to stick together. The only thing that it might accomplish is keeping your sauce from sticking to the noodles, and it'll just kind of like slide right off of it. So yeah, no, just there's no need to do that. Just put the sauce on it when it's done. You can put salt in the water, but not oil. Okay. All right. The next one is it's being afraid of cast iron. So there's kind of like and I don't even know if it's like an afraid thing. Some people are avoiding it because they don't want the extra iron in their food. I mean, some people can't, most people actually need more iron, but not everyone. So, that's kind of a personal thing there. But there's a lot of people who are like, I don't know, because they're trying to switch away from like their nonstick stuff that, like nonstick pans. We know that those things, especially when they get scrapes in them and stuff, putting all kinds of grossness in your food. So people are trying to come over to like stainless steel, cast iron. Stainless steel, is, in my opinion, in my experience, is way more difficult to get like that nonstick perfection there. If it's too hot, the pan's too hot, which most people cook on way too hot. But if it's too hot, or not hot enough, then, it's going to be a problem. So it kind of like, there's a learning curve to that. And then, cast iron, it can be very nonstick. And people get really worried about it because, like, oh, I'm not allowed to wash it, or I have to wash it in a very special way, like put salt on there and scrape it. And honestly, I mean, most of the time, yes, we have like a cast iron like brush thing, that you can scrape with and everything. But you know what? I'm going to say something. It's not the end of the world if you use soap on it once in a while. Okay. If you have something on there and it's like craziness and you need to get like the soap and water on there, rinsed off, here's the thing. Sometimes you want to do that because let me tell you, yes, you like all those flavors in your seasoning. When you're just kind of like scraping it and wiping it out and everything, you have a lot of flavors from the seasonings, from the oils on the sides of there. Now, here's the thing. If you were on to make yourself like a skillet cookie, that's not going to taste very good when you've been sauteing onions in it for, years. So sometimes you want to get some of those things off of there. Now, the trick is, though, if you were going to do that, if you were going to put soap and water on there and wash it out real quick, you have to dry it off immediately and put oils back on it and get it into the oven or onto your stovetop and get it nice and warm again so that you're re-seasoning it. Because otherwise it's going to get rusty. It's going to get rusty. You need to have that seasoning on there. So, it's not like you're not allowed to wash it. It's really not that difficult to use. We use it every day. We have a couple different ones. And it's really, they're really not that difficult to use. So, and I mean, hey, if you ever need a weapon in a pinch, bam, that thing, you're good. Okay. Our next one, all right, there's the next two are just kind of like coming off of this whole, like, bad nutrition advice of the past, simply because we just didn't know any better, or, we were still learning. But avoiding salt at all costs. There are some people that are still avoiding salt at all costs. And I get what you're saying. However, salt is an essential mineral. And my next one is going to be, low fat, everything, so, salt and fat, these are like saturated fat. This is an essential thing. You need this. So I am not part of like, let's cancel something that your body needs. Absolutely not. The difference really, salt, you don't want to have like horrible forms of it or too much, but your adrenal glands, especially, they need salt. Like, you need the salt to make all of the electrical impulses in your body do the things. Your body is electrical. You need these minerals, including salt, to make it run properly. Okay. So when, I'm a functional blood work specialist, when I am looking at labs and there is a concern with adrenals, I'm looking at sodium and potassium levels. So yes, like, you want there to be a balance. You need a nice balance, the proper balance of sodium and potassium, but you can't possibly balance it if you don't have any damn sodium in there. It's like the same kind of thing where when, we've got like these practitioners or like, these influencers out there, like, I can balance your hormones during perimenopause. No, you can't. Not unless you're giving them some HRT or something during perimenopause and menopause. Our hormones are tanking. You can't balance what's not there. Okay. So, if you want to have a good balance of potassium and sodium, you want your adrenals to be in good health, you have to actually have some sodium. Okay. So then we have, the low fat everything, we remove the fat and the flavor because that's, yeah. But here's the thing. Yes, everybody's hungrier and everything. We have this, horrible epidemic, in the last several decades of our elderly coming down with Alzheimer's. I mean, this is just, and dementia. I mean, this is absolutely devastating to watch. And, And it's become so prevalent, starting in, 80s, 90s, it's gotten more and more and more. And, we started with this low fat thing, this low saturated fat thing in like, the 50s, 60s, and we get up here and then suddenly, so, you need fat, you need cholesterol. Every cell in your body needs cholesterol. Most of them even produce it. You need cholesterol, you need that fat in order to have enough cholesterol. Your myelin sheath that protects your entire brain is made out of cholesterol. So when we're not getting enough of this, and then our body is taking, things are getting through like aluminum, and then, we're having all of these chronic diseases and things like that, basically. And you know what, honestly, low fat, low salt, all that kind of stuff, it's creating a lot of different chronic illnesses, a lot of chronic conditions, and it's contributing to the chronic conditions. Definitely not making anything all better. You need fat, you need cholesterol, and you need salt. Do you need to have only those things and tons of it? No, but you need it. So we're not, so when everybody's like, no, we can't have that. No, yes, you can, because your body actually does need it. Your body, yeah, you can't lie, like you can't fool your body. Okay. This next one is just funny. And it's okay. This is just kind of like a little reminder for you, because you know what? You might be cleaning a lot and this, okay. Get rid of your sponge in your kitchen. I mean, you have to replace it. You got to replace your sponge and all of your things. We use unpaper towels, like for napkins and stuff and things like that. So sometimes we wipe down the counter with a kitchen towel or something like that. I won't wipe up kitchen juice with like a reusable towel, most likely. I'll use a paper towel for that. But, when you're wiping things down, bacteria is coming. So I have a little basket that I keep on the kitchen counter. So like, when you use a towel or whatever, we throw all those in there. So it's like a little laundry basket. Everybody's going to have a different system or whatever. You have to make sure that you're washing things that are rewashable often and replacing things that you're cleaning with. Because that kitchen sponge, it's the real villain in your kitchen. That thing has seen some shit. It knows too much. You got to get rid of it because it's gonna tell on you. All right, my next one here is overcooking vegetables. I remember I've had more than one person, because working clinically in New Jersey for years, I've had more than one person tell me, like, I can't stand Brussels sprouts, I can't stand broccoli, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay, well, these are normal things for people to not like, and that's okay. There's no particular vegetable I'm going to tell you have to eat. But I said, okay, tell me more. What is it about these vegetables that you don't like? Oh, well, they're always so mushy and they're almost gray in color, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, depending on how you grew up, who cooked for you, whatever. Yeah, if you're getting like Brussels sprouts that have been slow cooked for 20 hours, or, they've been in the pressure cooker and they are mushy. And yeah, I wouldn't want to eat that either. So, when we're overcooking those into there. So, I mean, there's no nutrients left in the vegetable when you do it like that, especially water soluble vitamins. They're all in the water, the water that you cook down and everything. So, you just want to like blanch, keep it like a little bit crunchy. There's some things you want to cook down a little bit more, but overcooking stuff, like if your broccoli is the color gray, it's no goods. It's no goods. So, don't overcook your veggies. All right. So these last two are just about like washing your produce and stuff. So the first one, okay, like I laugh about this because I'm like, there's two types of people who pre-wash salad mixes and people who don't. And I'm sure there's people out there going, but Jess, I'm going to do that anyway because blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Great. You do whatever you want. But pre-wash like salad mixes and stuff, you get the ones where it says, oh, this is triple washed and ready for you to use. So those have been triple washed, so they're clean. They're as clean as they can be in the package and whatever. And yes, there's an amount of trust there and everything. But when you open that bag up and you put it into your sink and you are introducing sink bacteria into that, you're more likely to have more bacteria in it by trying to wash it in your dirty ass kitchen. And yes, even you who washes her sink every single day, it doesn't matter. Your kitchen sink is dirtier than your toilet. Okay. That thing's nasty. Even when you're cleaning it all the time. I mean, it just gets so much traffic. Okay. So, it's not like you're a gross person or something. Like, this is everybody's kitchen sink. So if you have something that's already been pre-washed, introducing it into somewhere where there's going to be more bacteria potentially right there within inches of it is probably just It's counterproductive. Um, this last one. Okay. Washing produce with soap. No. Okay. I know I mention Friends all the time because I love the show Friends. But there's a Thanksgiving episode where Chandler really wants to help. So Monica's like, all right, you can make the cranberries, they're easy to do. Nobody really cares about them, right? So she's like, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to wash the cranberries, and then she was like heading out the door to like run across the hall or whatever. And he's in there, he's got the dish soap and she's like, not with soap. And of course we all laugh. So if you are washing your cranberries or something in your dish soap, we are laughing. Your apples don't need a bubble bath, hun. So do not wash your produce in soap. You don't want soap residue on there and stuff. I mean that no, no, no. Soap is cleansing for this, but we're not going to use that to cook our food, to clean our food. Okay. If you do want to wash your produce in, like vinegar or baking soda or something like that to get more of the dirt and stuff off of it, that's totally fine. Just don't use soap. Okay. Don't use soap. So these were just kind of fun. Just some things that I wanted to mention because I've noticed like there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the kitchen that's kind of unnecessary or whatever. So please share some more with me. If there's something that I missed or that I didn't mention. I mean, some of these aren't just like unnecessary. They're just kind of like, they're leftovers from a time when we thought we knew differently. And we're a little confused about food, but we didn't know we were confused. And it's important, okay, that we are open to changing the way that we think about things, even nutrition, because, it is a rather young science. And we're going to continue to learn things about it. So when you have new evidence and things, presented in front of you, you need to have the ability to be able to change your mind. It is important that you are able to see things in a different way, in a different perspective, and change your mind based on things that are placed in front of you. This is a really important skill in life in general, like not just with like kitchen things and diet things, because like, yes, there's a lot of outdated advice out there that even a lot of doctors and dietitians are giving to people. And it's probably not, with ill intent. It's just something that they learned in school many years ago, and they haven't bothered to look into the new science present, to go, okay, well, we were thinking this, but now we're not thinking this. And they were only thinking that because there was money involved. I mean, that honestly, the whole war on salt and fats, it wasn't because we necessarily didn't know. No, there were some professionals who didn't know, and that's why they just said, oh, look at me knocking my stuff over. And they just said, oh, that's going to be like this must be how it is, like they just, because they just didn't know. But the people who originally like made the food pyramid, did all this stuff and everything, it was all money. The studies that were there that they said that they used to, come to those conclusions, they were absolute garbage. I actually wrote my master's thesis on that. So, it's very important that we are able to change our minds. Like even me, like, because I didn't always feel the same way. Even in my nutrition career, I have learned new things over the last like 10 years that I would have been like, oh no, about, 10 years ago. So it's important that we're able to change our minds about things, see another perspective. And, like if some of these things, if you're like, well, I still want to wash my salad, even though it said it was triple wash. Well, I'm not going to condemn you for that. I'm not going to judge you for that, but I've given you the reasons why for the other side. So it's like, okay, you've seen that other perspective. You can still make the choice that you want, but it's important that we accept that there are other ways of thinking and that sometimes those ways of thinking might be better than the way that you've been stuck in for a long time. And this can go under anything, whether it's in the kitchen or in school, wherever, right? And I mean, honestly, if your grandmother's pie crust got worse when you switched to margarine, I don't know what else you need to know about that. I'm so glad that you stopped in today so that you could see me knock over my mic and all this different stuff. It's been a great little spat with you here. I truly hope that you got something out of this. I hope that I made you laugh a little bit. I'm laughing over here. I don't know. Please laugh with me. Please leave me a review. Share this with somebody who could use a laugh or anything. I mean, anything on that list and they need to hear about it. Please share it with somebody. And I can't wait to see you back here again next week. This is episode 99, which means next time we're on episode 100. Oh my gosh. What am I even going to talk about? You'll see next week. Come on back for episode 100. Okay. Love you guys.